My first morning on the mountain was supposed to smell like pine, peace, and coffee, not police sirens. A woman in leopard print Crocs and a neon windbreaker stormed up my gravel driveway, swinging a clipboard like a sword. Under one arm squirmed a trembling chihuahua named Muffin. "You're in violation of Code Section 4B, she barked. Apparently, my unhung hummingbird feeder was a crime, baiting invasive species, she claimed. I hadn't even hung the thing yet. I tried explaining this was my late uncle's cabin, on private land, owned by my family for decades. She waved me off. "This is Mountain View HOA jurisdiction." 10 minutes later, sirens echoed up the ridge. 3 cruisers boxed in my truck like I was on an eco-terror watch list. The lead officer asked for ID and proof of ownership. I opened my truck's lockbox, handed him the deed, and watched his eyebrows climb straight off his forehead. "Sir, this says you own over 200 acres. This entire ridge." Behind him, Karen, yes, she was absolutely a Karen, went pale. Turns out half the homes, under her HOA, were technically sitting on my mountain. The officers double-checked the records, apologized, and told her to leave me alone. I thought that was the end of it. That night, the stars stretched across the dark like they were applauding. But silence felt, different now, tight, waiting. The mountain wasn't done. Karen wasn't done. And what started as a bird feeder argument was about to become a full-scale battle over who ruled the ridge. Spring crawled back up the mountain like an apology. Snow melted into silver streams, birds stitched music through the pines, and for the first time in months, the air felt light, unweighted by conflict or paranoia. Life settled into a rhythm. The lodge filled every weekend, hikers, painters, veterans, families in search of quiet honesty. They left notes in a little logbook I kept by the fireplace, each one small proof that something broken could be rebuilt stronger. Doug teased that I'd become mayor of the mountain, but without the clipboard or Crocs. Then, one morning, as mist rolled off the ridge, a letter arrived. No return name, just slanted cursive on a plain envelope. Inside, a single sheet. "You were right. Not about property lines, but about peace." I never understood what it meant to share it. K. I sat with it for a long while, unsure whether to laugh or sigh. It wasn't an apology, exactly, it was an echo. The ghost of someone realizing, maybe too late, that the mountain doesn't bend to control. I didn't frame it or burn it. I tucked it into the lodge's guest log, between entries about bonfires and stargazing, because even lessons deserve a place to rest. Weeks later, a hiker found an old sign at the bottom of the ravine, Mountain View HOA headquarters. He brought it up, smiling. "Should I toss it?" he asked. I looked at the weather-worn plastic, its letters fading but stubborn, and shook my head. Nah. Let it stay down there. The mountain will compost the nonsense on its own. By summer, wildflowers grew where her flyers once hung, and every breeze carried laughter instead of sirens. The mountain had its balance back, the way the heart resets after too many storms. Some nights, I still climb the tower, watch the constellations shift, and think how strange it is that peace can sprout from chaos if you just refuse to leave. The ridge hums again, steady, alive, and free. And if you listen closely, past the rustle of pine needles, you can almost hear it whisper. Paper fades. Mountains remember. Winter swept in early, soft and absolute. No flyers, no shouting, no drones. Just the sound of snow folding over the ridge. Then the call came, from a real estate agent. Karen's house was quietly for sale. She called the mountain too hostile for leadership. I couldn't resist poetic symmetry. Through my lawyer, I bought it. No gloating, just closure. Once she drove off, car vanishing into the pines, I stood on the porch and whispered. May the next mountain be merciful. Then I gutted her old place, stripped wallpaper, opened the windows, let nature back in. Within weeks it became the Lookout Lodge, a refuge for hikers, veterans, and anyone needing silence more healing than therapy could promise. Neighbors pitched in. Doug brought lumber, Rose baked pies, others donated tools and laughter. The place filled with stories instead of rules. While clearing brush one afternoon, I unearthed a rusted original boundary stake, the relic that had sparked this whole ordeal. I left it half buried. The forest could keep it. That night, from the rebuilt tower, 2 chimneys smoked below, mine and the lodge's. The mountain gleamed under starlight, finally at peace. I realized true power isn't control. It's steadiness, standing firm without shouting, protecting what matters with quiet persistence. The wind carried the scent of pine and snow as I whispered to the valley. This is home. Not because I bought it. Not because I fought for it. Because I earned it. And somewhere in that vast quiet, the mountain seemed to nod back. A county notice sealed it. Karen had 2 options: remove the part of her deck that sat on my land, or buy the parcel outright. The next morning she appeared at my door, hair frazzled, voice small. I won't fight this anymore. She handed me her surrender, termination of her self-proclaimed HOA. I simply told her to take down the Mountain View HOA headquarters sign from her driveway. She did. Peace returned, tentative but real. Neighbors stepped out again, waving, chatting, relieved. And then, right on cue, midnight motion alert, Karen smashing one of my cameras, breaking rungs on the new tower ladder. That was her final act. This time, the sheriff didn't shrug. He filed for criminal mischief. Karen was fined and slapped with a no-contact order. The transformation was instant. The neighbors, finally free, started to open up. She'd harassed them for years with bogus citations about garden decor and unregistered laughter. Instead of fear, they now shared relief, snacks, even jokes. We rebuilt together, fixed my tower, painted fences, planted wildflowers where flyers once hung. Then threw a barbecue at sunset. Laughter spilled down the ridge. Muffin barked from behind her closed blinds. For the first time, the stars above didn't look like witnesses. They looked like confetti. Karen's empire had officially collapsed, paper crown and all. I found her weakness by accident, bad geometry. At the county office, I compared property surveys and nearly laughed out loud. Her pride and joy, that massive outdoor deck where she held HOA meetings, stretched 32 feet onto my land. Poetic justice measured in square footage. I quietly marked the trespass zone with neon ribbons and a polite sign, pending boundary review. Within the hour, she charged down the hill like an avalanche in Crocs, yelling that I'd vandalized her property. I stayed calm, the sheriff stayed patient, and the record stayed legally irrefutable. That same week, I spotted a drone buzzing outside my cabin window, brand new, definitely hers. A petition soon followed, claiming I was building a surveillance tower to terrorize the neighborhood. 20 signatures, half likely forged, the rest clueless. Then came Doug, local retiree, part-time mythbuster. Knew that survey line was wrong, he said, handing me historical maps older than Karen's sense of limits. Proof, black and white, boundary by boundary. At the zoning hearing, my lawyer Mason spoke soft facts. Karen arrived in a beige suit, armed with poster boards and conspiracy. When she produced her fake HOA charter, the officer nearly laughed. Preliminary ruling, property line favored me. Outside, Karen muttered about corruption and mountain spirits. Mason just grinned. She's done. She just doesn't realize it yet. The ridge wind carried his words, light and free, as if the mountain itself was exhaling after holding back laughter. 2 days of calm, and then, paper warfare. Bright HOA citations appeared nailed to trees, unauthorized structure under investigation. By the 3rd day, my forest looked like a bureaucrat had gone feral. So I installed trail cameras. What they caught could have won Best Unintentional Comedy. Karen prowling the woods at midnight with a flashlight, slapping new flyers to trees, Muffin trotting behind in a sweater labeled security. I stayed calm, drafted a polite cease and desist, and handed it to her myself. She answered in a bathrobe and sunglasses. "You're harassing me," she screeched. An hour later, déjà vu, a sheriff's cruiser pulled up. Same officer, same unamused face. This time, I had footage. He watched, chuckled, and said, "Well, this is harassment, and maybe criminal trespass if she keeps it up." That afternoon, curiosity got the better of me. Through binoculars, I spotted her holding a self-declared HOA rally. Neighbors gathered like confused disciples, listening as she flailed her clipboard. One by one, faces soured, some walked away mid-speech. Maybe reason was returning to the ridge. That night, my cameras lit up again. Karen crept through the dark, moving posts, repainting boundary markers, staging her own version of the map. This wasn't random drama anymore, it was strategy. She wanted ownership. And I was realizing this wasn't just about peace and quiet. It was about defending the ground my uncle left me, inch for inch, lie for lie.